Hey everybody, it's Devil Tongue, and you're listening to Devil Tongue and Phantom Other. Now, due to scheduling conflict, Phantom couldn't actually be here with me to host. So, I want to introduce you to Perfume.
Hi everyone.
You're listening to the Devil Tongue and Phantom Other show. Today, Devil Tongue and Perfume on Spreaker.com. www.spreaker.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter at Devil Tongue, SoundCloud, Instagram, Skype, Snapchat, YouTube, or email me, deviled.tongue@gmail.com. And you listen to my man Alexander O'Neill. Shout out to Alexander O'Neill. How many of you out there are underemployed? Like, unfortunately, yours truly. I'm not going to get too deep into my own personal stitch. But for those of us, and you may have heard me mention this on earlier episodes with Phantom, when you have a college degree, whether it is a baccalaureate, possibly a master's, and I'm not going to go there with the doctorate, but yet you're not working in your field, or, you know, you are underemployed, as in the money that you're, should we say, desiring to make, you're not making. And I'm talking 20 and up versus, you know, they have you clock in minimum wage, as I like to put it. Perfume, in general, what are your thoughts on that?
A lot of people are not working in the field that they went to school for. I went to school for computers, and I'm not working in that field. And it was hard to accept that fact. You know, I spent all that time in school learning computers, and I couldn't find a job. I understood why. I wasn't looking for a job to program your payroll and give the janitor $1 million salary and the CEO make him have $28,000 a year. I can understand you didn't want to give me a job like that. But I understood that somebody asked, you have to start somewhere.
Well, to be totally fair, if you were to get a job in computers right now, could you do it?
No.
Okay. Hold that thought, because I'm going to tell you my situation. Writer by trade. If you will, creative writing, fiction. Now, I get jobs tossed at me for technical writing, some for copywriting. But, being honest with myself, I cannot perform as a technical writer. Yeah, fake it till you make it. If the company will hire me, sure. You know, then I wouldn't be having this particular broadcast. But, based on my resume, a lot of jobs come at me for technical writing positions, and I can't even do that. So, I don't know, either the headhunters, because, you know, they use software to mine your resume nowadays. Either the headhunters are not actually looking at these resumes, I should say scrutinize them like they should be, or someone thinks I'm capable of doing the job, which I personally don't believe that. And by that same token, I go by the pseudonym Devil Tongue because, again, I can creatively write, whether it's songs, stories, scripts, and that pretty much is the industry I want to work in.
Okay, but like I said, when I had graduated from college, companies wouldn't give me a position in working with the computers. I went and applied for IBM, Sony, and they was like, no, sorry, you don't have the experience. You don't have the experience. In order to get the experience, somebody has to pick me up. And you ask, do I think I'll be able to work in that field now? No. Computers change every 6 months. And the things that I was taught in 1999,
right?
To be honest, they're teaching kids that in school right now. So, I mean, I would have had to really stayed on top of the computer field on how to take apart the computer, put it back together, and the different softwares and the different programs. Like one program I wasn't taught, Java. I don't know how to do Java.
Okay.
but I know how to do the other Pascal. Well, Pascal nobody used. Pascal was the first one that came out. But I learned COBOL. Nobody uses COBOL anymore.
No, I learned the same programs you're referring to, Fortran and things of that nature. Now, as far as technology, sure, in your field, you have to stay on top of these things. Do I know Java? Yes, I do. SAP, I know a little bit about that. But here is the basic problem. And I'm going to tell you why I feel, I guess there's a lot of stupidity in the employment game. I get jobs coming to me, EVP, VP. You know what? They're looking to fill those positions legitimately, but these are people who may have a master's degree and have over 10 years experience. You know, which is fine if you're that person. But I'm like, well, why is it I can't just get a job, you know, as, I don't know, I'll say middle management. I'm not trying to be an executive VP or senior VP. If I could fill those shoes, of course I would apply for that job. But I'm just looking for a regular salary position that's going to pay well, you know, and give me health benefits and leave me not only feeling good at the end of my shift, but allow me the opportunity to live my life. Let me just say something real quick to all of our listeners in podcast land. This is the holiday season. Not for nothing. I want to spoil my family. You know, I want to spoil Perfume here. I want to spoil Kimara Knight. Check her out, right? Poet laureate, right? Shout out to Kimara Knight. You know, I want to make sure that my Jeep is running well. Naturally, when you have income coming in, you can do those things. But if you're struggling to make ends meet, sometimes working 2 jobs, and you know one job's paying you minimum wage, the other job's paying slightly better, it doesn't work. I would prefer to have one good paying job that 35 hours a week I'm killing myself, but then my weekends and holidays I can enjoy life, instead of 2 jobs where I have no time for nobody. I don't even have time to do this broadcast, and that would be a crying shame.
But don't you think that you have to start from somewhere to work your way up?
Of course. I was an intern at Sony 550. I probably wasn't there at the same time you said you looked for a job there, but I'm just saying, I've sort of been in the trenches. Mm-hmm. But why is it that I'm still in the trenches? That's what I'm getting at.
Because it takes time.
I understand, but how much time are we talking? Okay, great example. Let's say I was a high school dropout, which I'm not, but I'm just saying. And all I have, maybe I don't have a high school diploma, maybe I don't have a GED. Then all I can look forward to is working minimum wage jobs and low paying jobs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Nowadays, you need a degree just for sanitation. But when you have experience, when you have the higher education, and people say to you, oh, well, you can be a sales associate. Yeah, if I wanted to sell things.
But you could start off by being a sales associate, work hard, show initiative, and you don't know what will happen. Work your way up the ladder.
All right, let me take it from another angle. The person saying I can be a sales associate, why can't I do what that person is doing? See, they won't offer me that position, whatever that title is. No, I have to sit there and be like, good morning, this is Devil Tongue. And can I offer you some unworkable equipment? I'm just making up a corny scenario to prove a point.
You starting from the bottom. You starting at the bottom.
I've been at the bottom.
But you got to start at the bottom. And sometimes some people stay there for a week. Some people stay there for
a week. You know what? You're being much too kind when you say a week.
I am, and some people stay there for years. But you got to stay there. You got to put your work and sweat in. I mean, I know it's like, the words don't sound good, you know, but hey, that's how life is. People are not going to give you anything, especially these time and days. You got to work for what you get.
Well, see, you and I both understand that, but again, the reality of my reality is I have been there already. I am not trying to still be there, and that's the point I'm making.
But you've been there, and then what happened? You left because you got discouraged.
I got discouraged.
Why aren't you still there?
No. You're misunderstanding what I'm saying. We all start at the bottom. Mm-hmm. Even if you're 17, 18, and you go straight through college, I'm talking about, you get a undergraduate degree, bachelor's degree. No one, in most cases, and you could have been interning, no one in most cases is going to give you that really good job out the gate. But don't get me wrong. Some college graduates are fortunate enough to get that dream job out the gate, if that's their dream job, with their managers or middle management.
I don't know. I kind of disagree with you. I mean, like on my job right now, I have a pathway student, and he'll be graduating from John Jay in May.
Okay.
And he said that his thing is to be in law enforcement.
Got it.
So what we did was, like, his first week, we took him next door, and we introduced him to the officers. So when his time is finished as a pathway student, he made friends for life in the offices over there. And they're already telling him, listen, in January, they're going to be opening a position, putting for it. And they explained to him on this too, that you're not going to apply for a job and work over here. You're going to apply for a job and you're going to work. And he asked the question, what that mean? They told him, depending on where there's a position open, JFK or Newark, as a CBP officer, that's where you start at, down at the bottom, and you can work your way up.
But see, and he can climb the ranks quickly because it's paramilitary. Like in the military, if you go in as a regular enlisted person, E1, you can work yourself up to E5, E6. You can become an officer. If you have a degree, then you go to officer candidate school, and you sort of as an officer, 01, work your way up to 05, 06, what have you. Now, don't get me wrong. Somebody who starts at the very bottom, say like, this pathway student, and rises through the ranks quickly, that's a beautiful thing. But let me guess, he does have to start at the bottom. He can't come in as a sergeant.
He has to start at the bottom.
Okay.
Because he has no experience in law enforcement. Even though he's going to school, and his background, I forgot what it is, criminal law, but still, he will have to start at the bottom.
Okay.
And I also believe, too, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
There we go again with the who you know.
It's who you know. That's why we introduced him to different officers.
No doubt.
We introduced him to the regular officers at the JFK and Newark ports, but we also introduced him to port directors who can say, what's your name? All right, I'll remember that. I will look out for your name when I see it on the application. Or I'll remember you when you come by for a job. I will remember you. So, yeah, I'm a firm believer now. I didn't believe it when I was younger, but I believe it now. It's not also what you know, but it also is who you know. Helps push you through the door.
Very, very true. You're listening to Devil Tongue and Perfume on the Devil Tongue and Phantom Other Show, www.spreaker.com. And we're talking about actually being underemployed, which can apply to a lot of us who you graduated from college with a baccalaureate. No disrespect to people with associates. Shout out to all my associates degree holders. But what I mean is, you have your undergraduate bachelor's degree, regardless of the field. Mine happens to be in communications. And yet, you're not working in your field. And I'm about to go there. Shout out to the Vulcan Society at the FDNY. You're in a job, and for whatever reason, you're just not achieving promotions, rank. I mean, that's a dynamic that I can get into a little deeper in another episode. But how, in God's name, is it that you have experience, you have the degrees sometimes, and yet it's like thank you for your order at whatever minimum wage is, $11.29 an hour.
I think so.
I don't get it. If anybody can figure it out for us and answer us, remember, get at me at Twitter at Devil Tongue. I have Snapchat, Skype, Instagram, devil.tongue@gmail.com. I'm just saying, because I don't have the answers. And it's frustrating as a you-know-what.
And I also do believe that I just recently experienced this on my job. When they interview people who have the degrees, they tend to go with someone else because they say, you got the personality for the job. Or your personality won't jive. I'll give you an example. There was one young lady where she giggled throughout the whole interview. Right, just like that. And after her interview was over, we all sat and we talked and we were like, oh, she's nice, she's that. And one of the supervisors was like, I'm kind of leery. And was like, why? He was like, because she giggled throughout the whole thing. So I laughed.
Maybe she was nervous.
I laughed and I said, well, that was probably her nervous mechanism. I said, because the young lady that was before her, if you notice, she was pouring sweat. And I'm sitting in here with a dress that's long sleeve, and I got on a sweater, and I'm like, dang, it's cold in here. And she's sitting here pouring sweat. Everybody nervous. When they get nervous, their body reacts differently. And then he brought up the example, well, perfume, you may be right. But I just can't see if I'm disciplining her and she's laughing. That would probably scare me. So, okay, I understood his thing on that one right there. Because if that's her nervous and when I'm disciplining her on something she did and she starts to giggle, that's her way of reacting and he gets scared. But
to me, that's almost a superiority-inferiority complex. Almost. Not totally. Good example. At my last position, title was community educator. We can't hit kids. Oh, man. Shout out to my third grade teacher. I'll tell y'all about that story sometime. But even though it starts in the home, by the same token, children, I'm not going to generalize, need to learn to respect authority. But the teachers, the administrators, the school safety officers, sadly, we can't expect the kids to listen to us if they're not even listening to, I'm going there, pseudo papa, mama who's actually their friend, grandmama who don't really want to be bothered. I done raised my babies already. Where is the discipline? Because there's no fear. I don't know the demographic age of our listeners, but I was raised on the belt and the extension cord, and I could go on and on. You want to talk about the switch off the tree?
Because times is different.
We know times is different.
Okay. Back then, parents was able to discipline the kids. Now, we can't discipline the kids.
We can't discipline the way
the way we were.
Corporal punishment.
With the spanking and anything like that. Now you discipline kids with the timeout, which I kind of disagree with. I know when I went to my aunt's away for Thanksgiving, her granddaughter was being disrespectful to the teacher in school. And the teacher said, if you're disrespectful again tomorrow, I'm gonna, and the little girl said, yeah, I know. Give me time out. And I was like, hey, how old is she? 5, 6? And Martin was like, no, she's 3. I'm like, really? And talking back to the teacher like that?
Mm-hmm.
She's 3, and she already knows that time out means take her phone away, which has a little game on there. There's no watching of her favorite TV show, and to sit in the corner by herself. And she's the only child, and I'm the only child, and that sitting in the corner, that don't work. Because we'll get in that corner and start playing with our fingers. We'll get in that corner and have a whole conversation by ourselves. So that timeout, that don't work either.
My daughter, Kimara, is the only child. I have another really good friend of mine. I don't know. She had step siblings, but basically it was her and her mom, However, when it comes to discipline across the board, if there is no fear factor, if there is really no respect for authority, we wonder why, and this may be going to a bit of an extreme because you got to bring mental health issues into play as well. But this is why you wind up with Charles Mansons of the world. This is why you wind up with that radicalized guy who mowed down some people in the bike path, some weeks ago. This is why you get these, because if you really look at it across all races, nationalities, ethnicities, I say discipline is where it starts. Love for self, if nothing else. I mean, gee whiz.
I agree, but mom is too busy being girlfriend. So that's where the problem come in. There's nothing wrong with the mothers being the daughter's friend, because if you really look at it, that's who your first friend truly is.
Oh, it should be.
Should be. But mothers today are being kids' friends when kids are 5 years old. When kids are being disrespectful. Instead of mom spanking the kid on the hiney and telling them you don't do that anymore. And explain to them why you don't be disrespectful to Mr. Devil Tongue. Or kids are walking around calling you Devil Tongue and don't give you a title. Like they know you. That's my partner. I mean, it does start at home, but I believe that parents today are being friends. I know there was one lady at my church. She saw a mother out in the street go off on her daughter. And she said, that's why I never went off on my kids. I always treated them as equal as adults.
Wow.
And, at the time my mom was alive and we just looked at each other. And when the cab came and when my mom got in the cab, I didn't even get a chance to say, well, what do you think about that? She just looked at me and she was like, don't even try it. Don't even try it. And I was like, really? But I'm past 40. I can't. Don't even try it. So, and I can see her daughter now. Her daughter has. She has respect. I love her daughter, but if her daughter don't get her way, she has serious attitude problems.
Let's go back to the whole ideology of the village. Whew. And it's a conversation that's really an ongoing conversation. I'm going to sort of interlace bullying into that as well. You're not a police officer, you're just an average person no matter where you work. You see a kid getting bullied. Matter of fact, he's about to get jumped. Do you actually do the quote-unquote right thing, step in and stop it? Or do you mind your business and keep it moving? Regardless of me being Devil Tongue and 6'1" and 300-something pounds, I was bullied.
I was bullied too, but I'm going to be very honest. If I was walking down the street and I seen that happen, I would not jump in, but I will, as I'm walking by, I will make a comment and keep it moving. Because today, kids are off the chain. When I was being bullied, it was being bullied by name calling. Today, they go totally left. They name call you. They do vicious things to you, make you eat things that is not right, eating dog doodle, and they just do evil things. And I know I shouldn't say this, but kids today are crazy. So that's why I would keep it moving. But as I'm moving, I would go, that's not right. You shouldn't say nothing. And modern technology, I would dip into a store and I would call 911 and I would call the cops and say, listen, there's these kids on such and such street doing this, and that.
But here's the difference. You're still doing something as opposed to, typical scenario. Pull out your phone, World Star, your videographing it, videotaping it, and you don't say a word.
I wouldn't do that because like I said, I've been bullied. And I mean, God bless my father. He was the one who broke me out of being bullied. I used to get picked on every day after school. And my father worked during the day. And there'll be some days he was off. And it just happened to be that one day that he was home. And I told you how every day they used to chase me home. And I came busting in the door. And my father was home. And he asked me what was going on. And I told him kids were chasing me home every day. Chased me home. And he was like, no, that's not happening. That's a nicer way of my father saying it. But it wasn't happening. Next time the kids ran me home, I come to the door is locked. I couldn't get in. So you can imagine what happened at that door. And my father told me, you're going to have to get sick and tired of running home every day. And you're going to have to get sick and tired getting picked on and having people beating you up. And he was right. I did get sick and tired of running home every day and having people hit on me and call me names. To the point I fought back. I didn't run home anymore.
We all get sick and tired of it. The thing is, or difference is, as far as fight or flight, some people it leaves really deep psychological scars and you act out in a different way. Others, I'm going to pick on myself in a sense. If you want to say I'm an angry black man, you know what? I got issues. But when I say that doesn't mean that I go and bully other people. It doesn't mean that I puff up my chest, put that battery in my back and I'm ready to punch out everybody that I'm coming, into contact with, regardless of whether they're white, black, young, old, male, female. No. But does it change you? It sure does, because now, you know what? If I see a group of kids, I guess, you have to pick and choose your battles. I can choose. I can do one or two things. I can either cross the street or I can just stand my ground and walk through them. Now, because I have size on me, if they choose to leave me alone, which is the hope always, it is what it is. And if one of them wants to talk garbage and pop, then I'll just be like, yo, whatever, what's good? It's going to boil down to either fists flying or they're going to just talk the nonsense but keep it moving. But
and 9 times out of 10, when you stand up to a bully and he's unexpectedly gonna do that, he does back down. Because if you keep running, that's what they thinking that you're gonna do. And that's why he keeps hitting on you, picking on you, calling you names. But when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you stand up and you go, listen, throw the book bag on the ground, and you be like, look, listen, one of us is going down. So,
and it ain't me.
Or you even just say one of us is going down, and you leave it like that, and you throw up your hands. The bully, I'm quite sure, 9 times out of 10 be like, what's your problem? You didn't know I was playing with you? And
shout out to Chucky Booker. You know what? For our loyal listeners, we're usually all over the place, but we were discussing about being underemployed. My only general advice is, okay, you got to make sure your resume is crisp, sharp, as far as whether it's chronological or functional. You have to put your most relevant skill at the top. And if your resume is kind of all over the place like mine, where you have various jobs, various employment, it's better to have 2 resumes anyway. One that, let's say, highlights what it is you're about in terms of where you want to be, what you want to do. And the other one that is chronological in nature, because something? Trying to get a job in your industry, it can be challenging. Excuse me, I'm not going to say it is challenging. It can be challenging. But still, don't give up trying to get to that particular job. And don't get me wrong, shout out to all the blue collar workers. If you want to be that bus driver, if you want to be that conductor, if you want to be a police officer or a firefighter, nothing wrong with that. For what it's worth, you can move up in rank in your respective field as far as those departments. If it's something other than, like, you want to be say in the music industry, maybe you just want to be in radio, maybe you want to be a DJ. Try to keep getting into fields of employment that push you in that direction. You know, again, it's a challenge because let's face it, we all got to keep a job to pay our regular bills, rent, etc., etc. So it's hard to say, well, chase to follow your dream, you know, when you still got to hold down a 9 to 5. But let's just say that you have to really, really focus on making that happen. And if that means drinking a little bit of coffee here, a little bit of Monster Energy drink there, so that you have the energy to stay up and work on your craft, then so be it. All of us have more downtime than we want to admit to or realize. You know, you just have to use it more effectively. Time management is a skill that if you master that, pretty soon you will have so much time to do absolutely nothing. You'll be like, wow, well, let me find something else to keep me busy.
And I agree with the resume and have it crisp, 2 pages or less. Because I really just, like I told you recently, we just did interviews on my jobs. And one of the managers said she's seen a resume that was 20 pages. And she put it to the side. She didn't even read it. And I was like, you didn't even read the first page? She was like, when I see something that long, I don't waste my time in reading it. So from experience, make sure you keep the resume nice and crisp and sell yourself. You know, make sure you're the best thing out there. Make sure you know that no one can do that job but you. When you put in your resume, put your best foot forward.
Yeah, but I gotta say this though. A 20-page resume, whoever's resume that was, I mean, I'm gonna be a little jokey. They must have had, like, there's summer youth employment on there.
Probably so.
Relevant jobs, we get it. We all get it. But once upon a time, 2 pages was like a no-no.
Right.
Now, 2-page resume is not so uncommon. But it's honestly, here's the best way to put it, which is what I was told. If every job, and I mean every job in your resume is relevant to the job you're applying for. Let's say it is senior VP of a company or EVP of a company. And every job that you've had from the beginning of your work history is geared towards, okay, let's say again, you're going to be the executive vice president of Spreaker. Shout out to Spreaker, by the way. Then you can get away with a resume that highlights all the jobs you've had. You know, I was on-air talent. I was a DJ. I was a sound engineer. And the list goes on leading up to that. But if it's like, you know, okay, one job you was a manager at a fast food restaurant. Another job, I don't know, you was a clown at Clowns R Us. No. Don't have all those different mix of jobs on your resume. It's not going to work.
Sometimes it works because if I was a communicator at WBLS in 2000, and then in 2012 I was a clown, and then at 2003 I went to work for ESPN. When you bring me your resume, I'm going to say, hey, what happened in 2002? You know, there's a gap here. So, I mean, if you can fit that in and don't have to elaborate on, you know, your clown thing where you made milk turn into water and all that, then fine. But, I mean, don't shortchange yourself. And
I get it.
I also say volunteer.
Yeah.
If you have time to volunteer, volunteering opens so many doors you just don't know. You may say, oh, but what doors will open up by me serving the community on Thanksgiving? That person you standing next to, helping serve the homeless, you don't know what they do. Monday through Friday, 9 to 5.
Let me interject. Community service really does go a long way in people considering your resume. Oh, and another thing I must add, if you don't take away anything else from this particular episode, this particular broadcast, always send a cover letter. True, some sites will say it's an option, let me tell you a little secret though. As far as the process of elimination, like, since nobody actually hands out paper resumes pretty much anymore because it's an online world, back in the day, if your resume wasn't on bonded paper, it went in the trash. The ones on bonded paper they looked at, and then it's like, this one doesn't match the skills we're looking for, but this one does. Same thing with the cover letter. Most of the time when you apply online, if you don't include a cover letter,
we will not look at you.
Okay, so heed that little bit of advice. If Devil Tongue can't tell you anything else useful, you better remember that.
Yep.
Well, we're going to wrap this episode up. And again, thanks to my co-host Perfume here.
You're welcome.
I'll be back with Phantom Other possibly next week. But like I said, due to scheduling conflicts, scheduling issues, that's the reason why Perfume filled in. Yay!
Yay!
She's an awesome co-host, right? But again, I'm Devil Tongue, and just always looking out for you because I know in your own way you're looking out for us. So have a good one, and shooby-doo.
Night.
Run.